best piece of advice for life. Life is one of those things that everyone takes for granted, I think. Because you're here, you're in the world, you're doing things, but people tend to forget the majesty and the beauty of how you just came to be. How most of us are likely here just by accident, and that the chemical combinations of things that are needed to actually make a human being, and for that to be a success, and for you to actually be standing here on the earth, flying around a ball of fire, is just a freaking miracle upon itself. And we're only here once. You only get one shot at this. You only get one go around in life. So why not make the absolute best of it? That, sure, it's easy to just reside into yourself and be complacent and take things as it is and not go for the things that you really want to go for. But why? Why not just go out there and absolutely go as hard as you can at life? Do the absolute best that you can. And sure, I'm kind of guilty of this at some points as well, where you just sit down and you relax into yourself. And sometimes that's fine. Sometimes you need those days. But at the same time, I always want to try my best in absolutely anything I set my mind to. Because I'm never going to get a chance to be able to do these things again. I'm never going to get a chance to be where I am right now ever again. To be doing this YouTube thing and to take all these opportunities that I can. So I'm going to try my absolute best to do them while I have that opportunity. So any of you out there who are just stuck in a rut or want to do good things, just do it. Otherwise you're just going to stay in that rut. The opportunity is there to go grab it right now. So do it. What parts of yourself did you retain something for yourself? Something that makes you happy. It doesn't have to be something gargantuan. You don't have to go out and quit your job and then go do something else like take up acting or something and you're worried that that's not going to work out or anything like that. You can do it in small steps, but you gotta make a change. You gotta start somewhere. You just gotta do it. It sounds stupid to say that. That's like, just go out and do it, but that's the best advice you can give. Everything else is too, like, personal. I could give you very on it, but just please do whatever it is you want to do. Whatever makes you happy, whatever gives you that passion and that drive, because I believe in you. And if I can start a channel in a cabin in the woods, just yelling at video games and make it turn into something like this with the help of all of you, there's no reason that you can't do something similar with what your passion is. So go out there and show the world who's boss.
Earlier, there's always somebody out there who's gone through similar things. And when you do YouTube, when you have such a large audience, I think there's kind of a responsibility to do good with it. That you could make millions of dollars, you could do whatever you want and get Lamborghinis, and that's all cool. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I'm not going to judge anyone for that. For me, that didn't fit. So I always wanted to kind of give back and share my experiences, because I knew there was somebody out there probably who went through similar things. And then when they hear somebody out there has done the same thing and they still did something that was successful, that they can do it. So I think it's always been important to kind of be open and share with the audience. Not too much. Obviously, I still have my own secrets. I still have stuff that's happened in the past that I'm never going to talk about. But if I can open up and have people, because it's also, people see you more as a person if you actually have a personality and some stories to tell. If you're just there for entertainment, I feel like they see you more as an entertainer rather than a human being. So, I don't know, I've always liked kind of grounding the situation and keeping everything kind of more low-key and not drifting off and floating away from everybody.
Do that. And I'd always encourage people out there to go out and do YouTube, because it's such a fantastic avenue for so many opportunities, and it's a great creative outlet to be able to do what you do. And then imagine starting off.
I aspire to be like you one day. I just wanted to ask you, do you think I may have a shot at this? Again, love you, and Angie. Of course you have a shot at this. Anybody out there has a shot at this. I mean, if you think about where I was 5 years ago. I was someone who had... I was living in a log cabin in the middle of the woods with no friends, no, like, actual, like, getting to hang out friends, and no online friends either. I had nobody. It was me, my family, in a cabin in the middle of the woods. I had nothing but video games, and I had YouTube. And I looked at that and I thought it looked cool. It was a place that I felt like I belonged, watching other people and sharing ideas about video games and just interacting with people on YouTube made me feel really, really welcomed. It made me feel like I was part of something bigger than myself. So that's why I started to do it for myself as well, and for everybody else, because I wanted to give that to somebody else. what YouTube did for me, I wanted to create a community that did that specifically for other people as well, who were going through the same things. And look what it's turned into. So absolutely anybody has a shot at doing this. I didn't grow up in a fancy place. I wasn't rich. I was actually living on benefits. I had no money. I used what very, very little money I had to buy equipment to start off doing YouTube. I started off doing it with a freaking webcam sitting in my shirt as a microphone. And I had fun. I had a good time playing video games and tried to share that with other people, and this is what came out of it. So just try it, go for it, have a shot at it. It doesn't always have to turn into this. It doesn't always have to turn into a case of 19 million subscribers and raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity or anything. This is beyond what I ever thought it would be. As long as you're having fun and you're trying it, then it's all that matters. And give it a shot. Anybody out there.
Thank you for the $10. A bit off topic. I mean, nothing's off topic. You can ask whatever the hell you want. Do you have any advice for beginner YouTubers? I would also like to thank you for brightening both my and my boyfriend's lives with your channel. I would donate more if I could. Seriously, stop apologizing for not donating more or enough or anything like that. It's more than enough. Thank you. But advice for beginner YouTubers, it's the same as always. It's generic advice, which is just do it. Just do it and have fun with it. That's all you're going to need. Stuff might fall into place, stuff might not, but if you're having fun doing it and you're being consistent with it and it's something you enjoy, then none of that stuff really matters. It doesn't have to work out. It doesn't have to turn into a job. That's putting a lot of pressure on yourself to make it, like, to be a YouTuber kind of thing. If it does, then fantastic. If you're doing it for fun and you're having a great time and you're doing something different or you're doing something that you're just enjoying, then anything that comes out of that is just going to be a bonus. If anybody shows up to watch it, it's going to be fun. And if it does end up going any further than that, then amazing. That's incredible. And it's something that I've gotten very lucky with. So I know exactly how that feels. So that would be incredible. But I mean, if it also doesn't work out, then you're just back where you are, which is already having fun and doing a cool thing. So just go out there and do it. Do new YouTube channels stand a chance? Worth it? Of course. New YouTube channels will always stand a chance. It just depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it. If anything, it's easier now to get off the ground as a YouTuber than it's ever been. Like back when we were doing it, the algorithm didn't really boost any sort of smaller channels. Now there's stuff in place. It's still very, very hard to do, believe me. But there's some stuff in place now that smaller channels get more recognition than they ever have, which is fantastic. It doesn't always work out. It doesn't always happen. But I think now is a great time to be a YouTuber. It might be harder to become a huge YouTuber or to get that like boost or to get that sudden like gargantuan growth in such a short period of time, unless like you ride heavily on one trend. But I don't know, YouTube's a weird place. Jenny, thank you for the
I just like doing Battlefield at the time, so that's what I was doing. But the real thing of like, how do you start doing YouTube? You just fucking do it. There is no secret. There's no secret algorithm to get more views. There's no secret, well, there probably is that YouTube knows about, but no one else knows about it. There's no secret upload button that gets more views. There's no secret way of recording a video, a secret length, a secret anything like that. Stuff changes all the time. There's no secret to the success in it. It's a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work. It's a little bit of luck. And sometimes it's just striking while the iron's hot and working your ass off at that moment, which a lot of my one was. But when you want to do it, you just sit down and do it. You just start making videos. They're not going to be very good when you start off. The stuff that I'm doing here is not very good compared to what I'm doing now. At the time, it was the best I could do with what I had, and that's all you have to do. I know that watching a YouTube video now, people are using like really fancy microphones and fancy cameras and fancy lights and recording setups and everything, but I started off recording with a webcam stuck in my shirt, talking into that from my microphone. I didn't even have a face cam, and I was uploading on an internet that had 0.2 upload speed, and my videos were like 150 to 350 megabytes in size because I couldn't upload anything bigger. It was 720p and 30 frames per second. So You just gotta try. You gotta get out there. Do anything. Having a freaking phone to record these days is more power than I had back then to record, so just do whatever you want.
I've answered this question like 1,000 times, and it's always going to be the same thing, is just do it. Everyone always looks at people in our position and think like, what did they do that was different and special? And I'm sure we do stuff that goes against the grain sometimes. Sometimes it's striking while the iron's hot. Sometimes it's lucky. But at the end of the day, anybody I know who does this kind of work, or anybody who has achieved their dreams, has just done it. They just go out there, they have passion in their hearts, and they just want to do something, and nothing is going to stop them from doing it. Mine came from, like, the inception of it came from a bunch of different reasons, but the main reason I kept going, and the main reason that I'm doing it today, is because I love doing it. There's a passion there. It's something that I feel like I'm decent at. It's something that gives me purpose and drive. And I feel like anybody out there who wants to do anything should just do it. Sometimes it's not always going to work out. Sometimes it doesn't turn into the dream job. But at worst, all you have then is a really, really fun hobby that you love doing. So what's the harm in just trying to do it? If you don't try it, then you're not going to ever succeed. So just go out and try it and keep doing it and just have fun with it and do it your way.
Thanks, human.
It needs to be. Lab Logan, thank you for the $5. Any tips for starting a YouTube channel? Just have fun with it. Just the same generic tips that everyone keeps saying is like, just do it because you want to do it, and do it because it's fun, and just figure out what works for you, and then hunker down on that and kick some ass. Make some fun videos. Don't worry too much about your videos at the start not being what everybody else's is, because it won't be. You're new to it. You're starting off. You can take some inspiration from other people and learn what they've accumulated over the years, the knowledge that they have to give over, and then just find your voice and then hunker down on that. Because of how drastically YouTube has changed over the years, would you still say starting a YouTube career is worth it for those who want to give it a shot? Would you give the same advice for it as you have given 3 to 4 years ago? That's a very good question, contextualizing it from like now versus back then. I still think it's absolutely worth it, of course. This is the most fun job I have ever had, and I can't imagine doing anything else with my time. It's such a pure creative outlet, and sure, there are frustrations with algorithms and demonetization and copyright strikes and people being mean on the internet and all that kind of stuff, but the positives of this job and the positives of doing this completely far outweigh any of that stuff. Those are annoyances and grievances and get in the way sometimes, but day to day doing this as my job is just pure creative freedom, and I love being able to do it, and I'm very fortunate to be in the position that I'm in where I can just try a bunch of stuff. I know when you're starting out it's much harder, but I'd still say a lot of the advice that I've given in the past rings true now, maybe with some slight changes, like obviously doing the stuff you're passionate about, doing the stuff that you know a lot about, doing it for the right reasons and just trying to have fun with it are all still really good pillars to start off a YouTube channel with. I wouldn't say that those are the only things to start off with, because you do have to be smart about it. If your goal is to actually make it a career and you really want to work at it, you really want it to be your job, then you need to get good at learning about your analytics, you need to get good at learning how to read the data from your channel, what works, what doesn't work. Just trying to understand all of that, because that can help you gear your stuff. You don't have to sell out, you don't have to turn into mindless stuff and do only the things that are popular. There's a way of marrying your ideas with your passion, with the data that's there, and putting them all into one funnel and making it go further than it normally would. Because for a long time I also had that opinion, like 3 to 4 years ago, I was very staunchly against like, no, don't clickbait and don't do this and don't do that, and it was a very like high and mighty attitude. Like I thought I knew better because I was doing it for different reasons, when you can do YouTube for whatever reason you want. And if you want success out of it, there are ways of doing it, and you shouldn't really be made to feel bad for wanting it to succeed. Just because somebody else is not doing it for those reasons doesn't mean that it's horrible for you to want to do it in that reason. As long as you're not hurting anybody, then just do whatever you want. So I'd say just jump in, try it out, give it a while. It does take a while for anything, unless you have a completely insanely original, unique thing. where it's just going to explode overnight, which no one can predict. No one knows what that is, because if you could, everybody would be doing it. But just jump in, give it a while, try not to get it in your head too much about like comparing yourself to what other people had at this period, at this time. Like, oh, this person was doing it for so and so years and they got this far, and I've been doing it that long and I haven't gotten that far. Different strokes, different folks. Not everything that everybody does is always going to be comparable to each other. So just give it some time. As long as the passion and the fun is there. Because for me, it was because I was bored. It was because I was lonely. It was because of all these different factors, and YouTube was a great outlet for me to be able to express myself, to be able to show people, hey, this is me, this is my personality, this is what I like to do. Do you like it as well? Like, come on in, let's have fun. And I think that that's at the core of what YouTube is. You can still do it you still do it in a completely business aspect, but the communal aspect of it, to me, has always been the strongest pillar for my channel. So I always want to try and keep that alive and keep that going. Also, sorry, this answer's going on way too long. The video is way too long. But another thing is to not be afraid to adapt what you're doing to what YouTube necessarily needs right now. That's also looked down upon every now and then as well, because if people change and they mold their content to a different form, just trying to adapt to what YouTube's doing. It's not a bad thing to want your stuff to still succeed and want it to do well, but sometimes you have to kind of like change what's going on in certain ways. You don't have to change completely, you can if you want, but you can change certain things to kind of go with what YouTube is favoring more now. And people get hung up. It's the same thing with the green hair and the happy wheels and all that stuff, because people knew the channel most back then. So that's the happy little bubble of the thing that they know. And anything outside of that could be scary and changing and whatever. But I can't be that. You can't be the same thing you are 3 years ago on YouTube now, because the platform has just completely changed and morphed. So many more people doing it. YouTube wants different things. The algorithm changes. So just moving and shaping and going with that, while also keeping your morals intact, I think is a perfectly viable thing to do, as long as you're aware of it, that it's happening. But that's gonna be it! Poof! All the questions are gone. Thank you guys so much. I love doing these Q&A videos. It's nice to just reconnect. It's nice to just be one-on-one and chat about stuff and actually have you guys have input in the videos and see what the burning questions you guys have. A lot of them end up kind of being the same questions over and over again, but it's still just nice. It's nice to have these types of videos where we're actually having somewhat of a conversation and getting some sort of opinions and thoughts out, because I think that's nice to ground the channel a bit more and have this like nice central hub of the community, like I keep saying, to have that there and keep connecting back to it. And you can branch off from it, but as long as I remember to come back and relate back to you guys and just chat, has always been nice. But thank you guys for watching, and maybe we'll do another one soon. Who knows? What are your burning questions? Let me know down in the comments below. Bye! It's hot in here. Are you hot in here? You're not even in here.